It is so easy to go crazy with shopping for makeup on Black Friday. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt. Every brand has their sales and it's 40–50% off. Just crazy good deals. So I decided ahead of time that I was going to buy one brand that I've been wanting to try and get a full face of makeup and then be done. And that's exactly what I did. Last year it was Moira. I had never tried Moira Cosmetics and I'd heard about them a lot from Jen Phelps. And so I bought a full face, tried them, and I loved so much of what I tried. That video will be linked in the cards and in the description down below if you haven't seen it. This year, Catrice made the cut. They had 40% off site-wide and nothing that I purchased was over $10 with the sale price. I have been wanting to try the True Skin Concealer and Foundation for probably 2 years now and just never bought it because I have so many foundations. But this time I gave myself permission to do it. And so today is the day. It came packaged really nicely and there was bubble wrap on top of this. I am going to try all of this on my face and do a wear test to see if it was worth it or not. Everything in this box was less than $60. So stick around to see if it was worth the wait to try this affordable brand. I am going to take all of this stuff out of the packaging and I'll be right back. The first thing I'm going to put on is the Gloss & Glow Tinted Lip Oil in Glossip Girl. I always like to put something on my lips when I get started with my makeup so that they're nice and hydrated by the time it's time to put on the lip liner and lipstick. And that is a nice feeling lip oil. It smells maybe a little fruity. Yeah, I think it smells a little fruity and not sticky. And so right now it feels really nice. This, by the way, is $6 regular price and I paid $3.60 for it. So the first thing we need to get into, and I didn't take these out of the box yet, is this Matte Face Pro Set. There are 3 products in here, and even regular price, this is just $15. So each item in here is $5. But I got it for $9, which means each product in here was only $3. So this is my primer, my setting powder, and my setting spray. And I got the matte set because I do have oily skin, and the foundation I got was the hydrating version. So for me to make a hydrating foundation work, I also then need to use mattifying products under and over it. If you have dry skin, this is probably not going to be the set for you, but I think they did have other sets. And I was looking a long time in the primer section. They have so many different primers for different needs, and I couldn't decide if I wanted a mattifying one, a pore smoothing, which one I wanted. And then when I saw this set, I was like, okay, I'm just going for the set. And in there is this mattifier oil control primer. It says with Evermatte and willow bark extract. And I'm not sure what Evermatte is. I should have probably looked that up before I started, but I did not. So I will, if I get a little more information on that, maybe I'll put it up here in the side while I'm putting this on. I did use my e.l.f. Okay, is that changing colors? Do my lips look pinker than they did before? It doesn't say anywhere that it's a pH adjusting lip gloss, but I think my lips look pinker than they were when I put this on. I don't mind, it's not a bad thing, but anyway, just so you know. Where was I? Oh, okay. I did use my e.l.f. Whoa Glow SPF this morning. I wasn't sure that I was going to have time to film, and so it probably would have been better for me to use something that wasn't quite as glowy, but we'll just see how it goes. And if I have any issues with the foundation, I'll make sure to try it again tomorrow with a different sunscreen so that I know if it was an issue with the sunscreen and the foundation or the foundation itself. My foundation has to work with the sunscreens that I use because I am going to wear sunscreen. All right, so I am going to squeeze out a little of this primer, and you can see it is a lotiony texture, and just put that on everywhere. And I realize that it may seem to be a bit of an oxymoron to wear a glowy SPF and then put on a mattifying primer, but hey, that's the way it goes. And I'm getting some pilling. Something is rubbing off, and I think it's the SPF. So I'm going to have to get a tissue, and I'll be right back. Okay, let's try this again. I went and used my makeup eraser cloth, took off what was on my skin, and put on my Murad, that is a more mattifying sunscreen and sinks in really quickly, so I didn't have to wait like the full 15 minutes. We're going to try this again. So with the primer, and I'm going to use a little bit less this time because I had kind of a lot. And so it could have been the SPF. It could have been that I used too much primer. But I'm not getting the pilling now. I mean, it kind of felt like my skin was flaking off. It was really weird and a little bit yucky. No issues this time. And I do feel that it gave me a lot of smoothness in here where I have some larger pores. It's vegan, it doesn't have silicones, and it doesn't have alcohol. So I'm really kind of impressed with how my skin looks and feels. It feels really smooth. So far, liking that. I didn't like the way it went on over the e.l.f., however. We'll get to the other items in that bundle a little bit later, but I'm going to go into the True Skin Hydrating Foundation. All right, so I want to see the color and the texture of this here. So it's a little bit thick. You can see how it does maintain its shape there. And oh, it feels really nice. I think this color is going to be okay for me. And so let's put some on. I'll do one side with a brush and the other side with a sponge so we can see if there's a difference in the coverage that you get. And then I'll probably go back and blend the brush side with my sponge just because that's what I like to do. I have one pump on my soap dish. And I'm just going to dab this around. We'll do this the brush side. Blend it in. And I'm going to use this e.l.f. Kabuki brush. And just buff that in. True Skin But Better Hydrating Foundation with Hyaluronic Acid and Watermelon Seed Oil leaves a perfectly even skin tone and natural matte finish. Medium to high coverage with a comfortable skin feeling. There's no foundation? And with the foundation. All right, so we're going to do the other side with a sponge. And it is dampened. I do believe that it's fragranced. It isn't heavy and it's not unpleasant, but I do smell a little bit of fragrance, if that's an issue for you. It does feel like it wants to set down pretty fast, so I wouldn't recommend putting this on your whole face at one time. I would probably go in sections. I'm going to press that into the side of my nose. And what do you think? Here's the sponge side and the brush side. I think I do have better coverage on the brush, but I think it looks more skin-like on the sponge side. And I'm going to see if I can build this up just a little bit on the sponge side through here, where I have a little more redness and discoloration. And also on my nose. And yes, it does appear to be buildable because now I've got really good coverage right there. All right, I'm going to blend this other side with my sponge. Okay, I think that looks really nice on my skin. I don't think it looks heavy or cakey, but gave me really good coverage. And I think it's given me just a tiny bit of glow. I was pretty matte after that primer. So far, so good, but we'll have to wait for the wear test to see how it lasts throughout the day. By the way, my color in this is 007 Cool Nude. It retails for $10 and I paid $6. Next up is the True Skin High Cover Concealer. My color in this is Neutral Ivory. It retails for $7 and on the sale I got it for $4.20. So I'm going to swatch this. It has kind of that paddle-shaped doe foot, and we'll just put a little there. It does look like it's cool toned. I don't think it's going to be too yellow, and it is slightly lighter than my skin tone, which I like for a concealer. So I am going to put a dot, a dot, and a dot. This is how I've been liking to do my concealer lately. I'm going to do one eye first so that you can see the difference between the two eyes. I like putting these 3 dots where I need them like that. Helps me to use less and also helps me not to get too much right up under my eye where I have the most creases. So I pat it out like this first and then bring it up after I've kind of gotten some of the excess off with my finger. The warmth of my finger helps to meld it with my skin. And this has patted out really nice and it's dried down. Let me take a look. I'm going to take just a tiny little bit more in the corner here where I have so much darkness. See if I can get a little more coverage. And then I'm going to take this e.l.f. concealer sponge and just dab over it to remove any extra product. I have a little patch of dryness right here. It's been there for a while. It won't go away. So if you're seeing it gathered a little bit weird right there, it's my face, not the concealer. Okay, so now I'm going to come in really close because I'm going to show you what I always have to do. If I open this right here, can you see those little lines like that? So what I'd like to do, and I usually use a puff instead of my finger, but if I just straighten that skin and then go in with the sponge and dab out that extra, then when I open that back up again, those lines are gone. It will settle there as I'm putting it on, and so I have to dab out that extra. If you have places where your skin kind of crinkles together, sometimes you have to undo the crinkles to make sure things are smooth and there's not excess product gathered in those crinkles. What do you think? Here's the eye with the concealer and the eye without the concealer. I think it's done really well. It feels very smooth, but it doesn't feel dried out. I'm not sure if this is something I'm even going to need to set. So let's do the other eye. Comfortable high coverage concealer with moisturizing Hydro Boost Complex. Won't settle into fine lines. Fresh and even soft matte finish. Covers under eye circles. Long lasting. Waterproof. I'm going to leave that be for just a minute and see if we get more creasing or if it is actually set. And while I'm waiting, I'm going to go into my eye primer. This is the Ultimate Camouflage Cream in Ivory. It retails for $6. I got it for $3.60. And my favorite eye primer used to be the e.l.f. Putty Eye Primer. I know I am in a very small minority of people who liked that. And so e.l.f. discontinued it. So I was hoping that this might be a replacement for it. It is a cream base, and this is what it looks like swatched. I am really excited about this. It's a good color, and my eye primer has to do two things. It has to keep my eyeshadow in place, obviously, but it also needs to even out my eyelid. I have darkness, I have veins, I have redness, and so I really want my eyeshadow primer to give me a blank canvas to work with without looking dry or patchy. But then it also has to set down. I mean, I know I ask a lot, but I had one that did that. So this one so far is doing a good job covering things. I'm going to use this AOA Studio F19 brush to now blend this out. I can get in the corner better with a brush than I can with my finger, and it helps to remove the excess. So I'm going to use this. So far, I am very happy with this. I may have found my eye primer. I realize it's early. I haven't even put any eyeshadow over the top of it. But if it lasts through the day, oh yeah, I'm going to be really happy. And it's only $6. I was ready to go to the MAC paint pot in Painterly and just suck it up and pay the whatever 26 something dollars it was, because everybody says it's so good. But I'd rather pay $6. Well, shiver me timbers, I'm excited. It's probably going to crease a little bit while it's setting down. I will go in before I put my eyeshadow on and pat it out again and make sure that it is set. But for now, I'm really liking it. Let me check that concealer. Tiny little bit of creasing on the left eye. I used a little bit more on that eye just to see what it would do. Didn't have any creasing on the right one. So now we're going to go in and we're going to set my face. In that box that I had initially is the All Matte, I can't read it, it's silver letters on white. Okay, All Matte Plus Shine Control Powder, 12-hour long lasting. So it is a white powder. which hopefully will just be translucent and not make me look pale. And I've got a powder brush here. I'm going to swirl it in, kind of load up my brush with it, and then tap off any extra. And I like doing the center of the face and then working towards the outside. I don't know, what do you think? Do you think it made me look a little ghostly? Maybe. Let's see what it looks like under my eyes. I don't have a lot of powders I like under my eyes, but we're going to try it. I don't think it's too bad, but this is a concealer I would have to set because even in that short amount of time, I already had creasing under my left eye again. So we'll see how this holds up through the day. I need to get some color in my face. And I have here a product that reminds me of another product I've seen that is a lot more expensive. I don't know if it's a dupe because I don't have the expensive one to compare it to, but it looks similar. And it is the Holiday Skin Bronze and Glow palette. It was $7 originally, $4.20 on sale, and it has a bronzer and a highlighter. And here is the swatch of these two. So it's a nice bronzer. I don't think it's going to be too orange, and it looks like a pretty subtle highlight. I think I'm going to like it. So this is a little bit of a dense brush, but it's also fluffy. So let's go into the bronzer side. Oh, it kicked up a bunch of powder. And I'm going to put this a little above where my natural hollow is to help lift my face. Bronzer, contour, I use it kind of all in one. That's a pretty color. And then we'll take a little right along here to hide my jowls. Okay, not hide, maybe camouflage a little bit. We have to be realistic. There's only so much we can actually do. But I think that that's a really pretty shade for my fair skin. It's warm, but not too orange. So, very good. Maybe I shouldn't have powdered because I have a cream blush stick to try. But it's also good to know how these things work over powder. And one of the reasons you watch me is so I can be your guinea pig. This is the Cheek Flirt Face Stick. Say that 10 times fast. In Rockin' Rose? Yeah, Rockin' Rose. And it was $6, again, $3.60. And here is, I'm running out of room to swatch, so we'll just go here. It's a little bit of a peachy color, and I think it's really pretty. So let's put that on. Just gonna draw. And I like with these to blend them out with my finger. So we're gonna do finger on one side, and then I have kind of a dense stippling brush that I'll use on the other side just to see how it works to make sure that it doesn't lift the foundation, that kind of thing. Okay, I like that. Let's do this side and use this blending brush. I might like it better with the brush. I feel like it gave a softer look. So let's go blend this side. And then just putting a little bit more of my finger just on the fronts. And I do not feel that it lifted anything underneath, and it went on just fine over the powder. That's really nice. I'm not sure here if this is going to be okay to put on over that cheek stick or if it's going to grab it. But I'm going into the highlighter with a little bit of a fluffy brush. Just kind of picking some up on the side and dabbing that on. Yes, that is a nice highlighter. It's not beaming. It's not glittery. It just gives a really pretty glow. I'm going to do just a little above here, just to bring a little brightness to that part of my face. All right, I'm pretty happy with my complexion. Let's move on. Oh, I also have this all over glow tint. I'm not sure where or if I'm going to use this today. It looks like that. And it's kind of gold. I feel like it might be a little dark. This looks like something that maybe I should have put on under my makeup. As an, if it says all over glow, that kind of like a Charlotte Tilbury or the e.l.f. Halo Glow. I don't know. What if we take just a tiny little bit on my fingers like this? Oh, I don't want to ruin it. Why not, though? That's what we're doing. We're playing the makeup. That definitely takes it up a notch on the glow scale. But it's really pretty. It isn't, again, it isn't glittery. So I think, you know, I should probably pick one to use. But for purposes of this video, I wanted to show them both to you. And then if I blend, I like it. Before I do my eyes, let's do some brows. I have the Slimatic Ultra Brow Pen. It says it's waterproof, and the color that I got is medium. It does have the spoolie on one end, the color on the other. It's $6, and again, at 40% off, that was $3.60. So let's brush up the brows. And I'm not sure if this is going to be too dark or a good color. So let me find a spot on my hand that's not... I'm going to go in lightly with it because it looks like it could be a little dark, but it's really creamy. Wow. I am barely touching my face. The light just looked really light. And I think I'd rather have brows that are just slightly too dark than too light. So how about you guys? Did you do any Black Friday shopping? What did you get? Let me know down in the comments below. I want to hear what you got. I also bought a new microphone, and I was going to use it for this video, but it's got a hiss. And honestly, I felt like it sounded better without it. So I'm going to play around with like recording something and then seeing if I can use the audio settings in my video editor to get rid of the hiss. I don't know if it's worth it. It might be going back. So that was super quick to do that. And I also got a brow gel. This is the Color and Fix Brow Gel Mascara, and the color is Blonde. This was $5, so I got it for $3. It does have a little spoolie on the end. It's kind of like one of the Christmas tree shapes, and they are stiffer bristles than I'm used to on a brow gel. So I wonder how it will comb through my brows. Let's give it a shot. And I always kind of go both directions when I'm applying a brow gel so that I can coat the hairs. Kind of brush them away the wrong way first, and then go back in and brush them the right way. I don't know if I can tell much of a difference. It is light, but that's kind of good because it'll tone down the darkness of the other one. Let me do the other eye. Okay, I like that. All right, so let's go into the eyeshadow. I have the 5 in a Box mini eyeshadow palette, and this is called Soft Rose Look. And the shades are, just as they say, kind of in the soft rosy family. There are 3 mattes and 2 shimmers, and I'm going to do a real quick swatch of this. First, the mattes. There's a neutral taupe. It's very cool toned. Then the rosy toned and the deep brown. And now for the shimmers. You have a deeper shimmer that's kind of a taupey brown, and then the light pink. First, I'm going to go into this light taupe color, and I'm going to put that... Oh, first of all, before I do that, let me check this eyeshadow primer to see if it's creasing. And yes, it is. Can you see that? So I am going to pat that out, and that's not making me happy because, I mean, look at, that's really bad. If the oils from my eyelid continue to react with this and crease it, then my eyeshadow is going to get really creasy. So we'll see. It's not looking promising right now. I'm going to take that taupey color, and I'm actually going to put that all over the lid. Normally, I don't do that, but I feel like this eyeshadow primer might need to be set. So this time we're going to do that. And just up right under the brow bone for my, and we're going to do this as a transition shade. Hopefully, setting down that primer will keep it from creasing again. I'll let you know. Okay, that's a really pretty shade for me. Then I'm going to take a smaller domed brush because I want to do some more crease work. And I'm going to go into that rosy tone there and kind of really load up the brush and then tap off some extra so I don't get fallout. It is kind of powdery. And then I'm going to tap that right into and above the crease slightly so that I can redefine where my crease is. My crease is really low right there, and I want it up here to give more lid space for the shimmers. And I bring that in a little bit on that outer corner as well. And while I'm there, just drag it under the outer lower lash line. I'm going to take a clean fluffy brush and just blend the edges. Got a little carried away under my eye on this side, so I'm going to take a little of that off. I like that. It's really soft and very pretty. All right, time for some shimmers. Let's take that first one, the darker one, and go on the outer portion of the lid. That's pretty, and I think it did apply pretty well with the brush. I want to try something. I have heard that if you use these little sponge applicators for your shimmers, it puts them on really well. And I went and found one, and I'm going to try it just for grins. So I've got some on there. Oh my goodness, it really does. Wow. Color me impressed, because I really like using my fingers, but sometimes it's hard to be precise and I end up getting it all over the place in the outer corner. But that worked really well. All right, so let's do the lighter pink shimmer now too. And just go ahead and go in with the applicator, why not? I can get into that inner corner without getting it all over my nose. I think I might order a package of the disposable ones off of Amazon. I think they have a little bit longer handle. It might be easier to control. And I want to get with this just a little bit into that, right in that inner corner. Oh, that's pretty. Liking that a lot. And then I just flipped it over again, and I'm going to blend that so that there's not like a line separating them. I think I have a little bit of fallout. Yeah, I do. Let me brush that away. The concealer's kind of creasing a little on the left side. Not really happy about that. I really like that eye look, but I'm not quite done. I'm going to take a liner brush and that darkest color and kind of load it up, tap a little off, and then I'm just going to scrub that in to my lash line. And I've kind of been doing this lately. I haven't really been doing liner above the lash line at all for quite some time. And tight lining doesn't really get in between the lashes. So doing this gives a base to my lashes that are very blonde and already makes them look thicker. You can see the difference on this eye and this eye. And it just helps give some volume to the base of my lashes. This packaging is interesting because it gets to here and it doesn't kind of want to go further, but then when you give it a little push, it kind of clasps down. So anyway, that was close. It does say it has rose oil, and I'm not sure what that's supposed to do, but I do like the look that I created with this. I thought I got an eyeliner, but apparently I did not. So I am going to just grab a brown eyeliner and do that, and I'll be right back. And I did use that Wet n Wild Kohl eyeliner pencil that I use so often and really, really like. All right, I am going to curl my lashes. One of the items that I was most excited about in this haul is this mascara. This is the Glam & Doll Easy Wash Off Power Hold Mascara. And one of the reasons I was really excited about it is because it sounds like it could be a dupe for the Thrive Cosmetics Tubing Mascara. I love this. I got it for the first time in an Ipsy maybe 2 years ago, and then I bought it again in the Ipsy shop, but I haven't seen it there for quite some time, and the one I have is getting old, so I would really like to find a drugstore alternative to it. The way they describe this definitely makes it sound like a tubing mascara, so here, let me read what they say. 24-hour long wear, smudge proof, volume and curl, innovative tube technology, removes easily with just warm water. Textured tubes wrap around each individual lash. Sounds like a tubing formula to me. So I'm going to give it a go, and then I will update on the screen how easily it removed at the end of the day. It has one of those curved wands. It's curved on top, straight on the bottom. It's a little like the e.l.f. Lash and Roll, which I guess is like the Benefit Roller Lash. And so let's just go in and see what we get with one coat. And I do wiggle and pull at the base of the lashes. Generally, that's what I do for the first coat, and then the second coat, I focus more on the tips of the lashes. Right now, it doesn't really seem to be giving me much in the way of length, but it also doesn't kind of claim that. But let's see if we can get it. It also could be one of those that gets better with age. Okay, so there's one coat on that eye and nothing over there. I'm gonna do the other eye. I'll be right back. All right, I have one coat on each eye, and so far it's okay. Not blown away by it, but I'm going to do a second coat, and that can make all the difference sometimes. I did get a little on my face. I'll fix it in a minute. There's a little bit of difference, but it took me quite a while to get to here. Now, it's not clumping. They are staying separated, but I don't really feel like it's given me much length. So I don't know. We'll see. It's okay. It's not my favorite. So I'm going to actually see if I can get just a little bit more on the tips.
2 hours later.
All right, I think I got there, but it did take quite a lot of work. Now, if it comes off really easily with warm water in those tubes like the Thrive does, then it might be worth it. But if it doesn't, then, yeah, it might not be. I'm going to take off this lip oil, and it has actually stained my lips to be a little bit pink. So for the lips, first I have the Plumping Lip Liner in What a Doll. This was $4 retail. I got it for $2.40 with the sale. And it is a very creamy, just a kind of a brownish nude. I have so many of these, but it's the one I use the most. So I actually thought it might be a little bit more mauve than it is. It is really creamy. And then the lipstick I got, look how pretty this is, that ombre tube. I just thought that was beautiful. It is the Shine Balm lipstick in Rosy Overdose. And it is kind of a pinky rose color. But I think it'll be pretty with that lip liner. It does feel like a very traditional bullet. It's not like a matte drying or anything like that. And I think it's a really pretty color. All right, let me fix my hair. I'll be right back. I thought I was finished, but if you were paying attention from way back in the beginning in that box that I opened, there was one more product in there, and that's the setting spray. I completely forgot. This is the 16-hour long-lasting oil control matte fixing spray. It's hydrating, pore minimizing, and also has that ingredient Evermatte that was in the primer. So I am going to check the mister on this thing. Oh, hey, that's pretty nice. I don't smell anything, so I don't know if it has fragrance or not. Again, like I said, this was in that box at the beginning that retails for $15. I got it for $9, so divided over 3 products, this was $3. So let me get my hair out of the way again. and mist. Okay. Little wafting to dry. I do not smell any scent at all. Let's review. The primer was very smoothing. I do like the way that it laid on my skin and how it made it look. It did not play well with the e.l.f. Wow Glow SPF, however. Really like the finish and the look of this on my skin. I feel like my skin is covered, but not cakey. It isn't sitting weird on my nose, doesn't seem to be gathering any of my lines. So we'll see how that lasts. I'll check in. The All Matte Shine Control Powder, I did feel like at first it might have given me a little bit of a white cast, but I don't feel like that lasted. So we will see. Hopefully all of this stuff will help my makeup stay on and look great all day. The concealer, let's take a look. This side looks pretty good. I do have just a tiny bit of creasing under this eye, so I'm going to tap that out. And then we'll see at the check-ins if it continues to crease or if it was just, you know, one of those things you kind of have to do sometimes when your makeup's done. You do a little bit of tap pat and everything's fine. So I'll let you know. This is definitely a color changing lip oil, and on me it turns a pretty bright pink. So I didn't mind it, but I'm not sure that I want that all the time. So I'll have to keep that in mind. But it's very comfortable to use. I don't know what it would do if I put it over this lipstick, and I don't know if I want to find out. I want to test the lipstick all on its own. This concealer, let's see what's happening to my eyeshadow. I don't see any creasing of the eyeshadow now that I set that and put the shadow on top of it. So I will again update on that. Really liked the bronzer and the highlighter. Thought both of them were very pretty, good colors for my skin tone. Didn't go on patchy, any of that. So yes, I really enjoyed that. This cheek stick is really good. I like it. We'll see how well it lasts, if the color lasts all day. But it was very pretty. And I bet you could probably use it on your lips if you want. It does have just a little bit of a glow to it. Speaking of glow, I went a little crazy on the highlighter. Not only did I use this one, I put this over the top of it, and this is very pretty. It would be interesting to use this under the foundation, kind of the way you would use the e.l.f. Halo Glow, and see what that does. So if I have time to try that before I put the video up, I will, but I don't think that I will, so it may have to be updated in a future video. Which, by the way, if you want to see my future videos, make sure you're subscribed and you turn those notifications on, set them to all so you don't miss anything. And then we have brows. Really liked both of these brow products. I would probably like this more if I got a lighter color. I feel like my brows might be a little dark today, but they're not bad. And then this combed through my brows really well. They don't feel stiff, but they do feel like they're held in place. Last two were the mascara. Had to build it up a lot to get what I have. That could be a function of it being brand new. Sometimes mascaras that do that in a week are absolutely perfect. So that might happen with this one. But the big thing is, does it come off like the Thrive, where you just put some warm water on and it just comes off? I will let you know. And then the setting spray, nothing bad to say about it. I enjoy that it's not fragranced. The mister is very nice and it didn't spit all over my face. So other than that, I can't comment on its lasting power until the check-ins. So the makeup's on, but don't go away because we've got check-ins coming up in just a little bit. All right, the sun, it's really overcast, but the sun has come out just a little bit. So I want you to see what this makeup looks like in the natural light. All right, I'll be back for a check-in in about 4 hours because I filmed another video, and so it's already been about an hour, and I will let you know how it's holding up. It's time for the 5-hour check-in. The lipstick is pretty well gone, but it was actually holding in there pretty well. And then I finished my coffee and had a piece of gum, and I forgot that I was supposed to do a check-in on the wear of the lipstick, and I was blowing bubbles. So it didn't hold up well to that. But it was actually there before that, so I think it probably, for a traditional bullet, lasts pretty well. Gives you about 3 hours, and then if you're eating or drinking or blowing bubbles, you're probably going to have to reapply. As far as the makeup, the eyeshadow is not creasing and still looks really vibrant and really shimmery, so that's good. I'm looking just a little shiny on my nose, but not terribly so. Not like, oh my gosh, I need to powder because I feel like an oil slick. And my skin still feels dry. It doesn't feel oily. I think the blush and bronzer are still in place. I don't have any flaking from the mascara. The concealer is not creased, although it does look like it's kind of maybe worn off a little in the darkest part of the inner portion of my eye. So I'm not sure about this concealer, and I have been blowing my nose, so I have just a little bit of redness and wear off there, but not as much as I would have expected when I went to look at it in the mirror. So there is the 5-hour check-in. I think everything's really holding up pretty well. And so I'll be back for the 10-hour check-in. That'll be about 9:30 tonight, and let you know how it went through the rest of the day. If you notice I'm wearing a different shirt, it's because that other one got hot. It's December 12th, but seriously, it's so nice outside. I was able to walk to the bank without putting a coat on today at work, so I'm not complaining at all. I will be back in a bit. It has now been 9 hours since I put this makeup on my face, so let's talk about it. I think I look a little shinier than I normally do at this time of night. It's kind of worn off here, and it's a little worn off on my chin, but I think that's because when I was cooking dinner, I was sitting at my kitchen island, and I caught myself sitting there with my hands, my face on my hands like this, and then I realized, oh, I shouldn't have my hands on my face. But sometimes you put your hands on your face, and you rub your nose, or you have to blow your nose, and I think foundation should hold up to that. I'm not convinced that this one did. It did better than a lot of hydrating foundations that I've used in the past, but considering that I used a mattifying primer, a mattifying powder, and a mattifying setting spray, I kind of think I should not look this shiny. If your skin is drier than mine, you might really like this foundation. I think it's very hydrating, and I think it did look good on my skin for about 7 hours or so. Just didn't quite get to 9. That said, even though the foundation is a little worn off kind of in the center of my face, I actually think it held up pretty well on the sides of my face. And I also think the bronzer held up pretty good. Not so sure about the blush. It's still kind of there, but not as strong as it was. The eyeshadow still looks great, I think. It's not creasing, and it still has pigment, still has shimmer, so this little guy, I think, did really good. Very pleased with that. The brows are still looking good. Even the tail of my brow is still there. I often lose the tail, and you can definitely see my forehead's looking pretty shiny. But the brows were great. And what else is in here? This did not continue to crease after I blotted it out and set it, so I may continue trying this as my eyeshadow primer. The lip product is pretty well completely gone at this point. I think I might have just a little bit of the lip liner that you can see, and so that actually lasted really well. But I did reapply the lipstick after I did my 5-hour check-in, and it lasted about the same, about 3 hours, I think. So, the mascara. I haven't taken it off yet, obviously. But if I get close here, you can see I do have a little bit of flaking. There's a little bit on this eye and a little bit over here. So that doesn't make me happy. Okay, here's how much I love you guys. This is what happened when I tried to remove this mascara with just warm water. Yeah, it's not a tubing mascara. Case closed on that one. So unfortunately, no, I do not recommend the mascara. The concealer also, I feel like, is breaking up kind of in this inner corner on both sides. Still looks okay out this way, and it didn't crease again, but it does feel like it's kind of wore off and not looking real great. So it's a mixed bag. Some things I really liked and some things I didn't. The really likes would be the brow products, the eyeshadow, and this bronzer highlight palette. The not so sure would be both the foundation and the concealer for my skin type. I know that there are people who love this, swear by it, and I'm going to try it with a couple of different primers and see if it will last better using some of my tried and true primers. I'll update you in a couple months after I've used it some more and see if it changes. Overall, other than these two and the mascara, I think it was a pretty successful face of makeup. But I definitely wouldn't recommend this, and this is going to depend on your skin type. How about you? Do you have any favorite Catrice products that you would recommend? Let us know down in the comments down below. I'm going to give you a couple videos to watch if you have a little bit more time to hang out. I'll see you there, or I'll see you in the next one. Have a beautiful, blessed day. Bye-bye. Let's get some... It didn't break. Picked up a bunch of powder. And the way they describe this makes it